It's another episode of Hughes From The Heart, a very special segment that I have started here to chat with you, the folks of the world, and to get a little thumbnail sketch of what you're going through with this whole coronavirus pandemic and how you're getting through it yourself, your family, your job, your life, your hobbies, your loves, your interests, everything. It's affecting every facet of our lives in ways that we never thought possible even a few weeks ago. And it's changing really the way the world interacts with everything out there. I've got James Finley here with me on the podcast. He's been a longtime supporter and listener and friend. And James, thanks a lot for volunteering to do this. I know it's kind of a scary thing, and out of the thousands and thousands of people I'm hitting on social media, only you and a couple other people have agreed to do it so far. So thank you for, I won't call you a guinea pig, but thanks for being one of my first.
Sure, no problem.
I appreciate it very much. James, where are you located? You don't have to say specifically if you don't want, but if you want to give a city and a state, we'd be interested to see where everybody's calling from.
Yeah, I'm in the southern Colorado area myself.
Okay. Now, that's a state, to be honest with you, that we hear a lot about. New York, we hear about California, we hear about Washington, we hear about other places, but I haven't heard really much. I've been so focused here on Washington politics and what's going on with this thing. I couldn't even tell you what Colorado's frame of mind is and what their policies are, so I'm glad you're from a state that a lot of people might be curious about. What is going on in Colorado? Do you guys have a shelter in place? Are you guys moving about freely? What's going on?
We started a shelter in place statewide this morning at 6 a.m.
Now that means what? Is the governor doing the whole essential occupations thing? Or are you only supposed to get around to go to the store and to get to work if you have to, and doctor's appointments and things like that?
Yeah, the essential work, of course, but the list is enormous. It largely doesn't make sense because of the size of what's still open. I've heard that the Walmart locations are only allowing 10 people in at a time.
Wow.
Most restaurants closed completely, even though they may have a drive-through, they're still closing down. We have the ability still to travel freely in the sense of if we needed to go get somebody in a vulnerable situation that maybe they need to go get some food or that kind of situation, we're able to do that.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, shelter in place with your immediate occupancy is what they're saying.
Now, what industry are you in? You could be as vague as you want, but I don't want to get too personal or specific if people don't want to. That's not the point of this. I just want to know how it's affecting you in terms of your job. I just started a job on Monday. I was so excited about it a month ago. I couldn't wait to start it. And it was a great opportunity, a golden one that my family desperately needed. And now I'm being told it might be weeks and weeks before I can go back to work. What's your situation?
I feel very fortunate, actually, in that regard. I started with a large telecommunications company in February, and they immediately recognized that our children are going to be out of school, and they pretty much stepped up to the plate for us and gave us some paid time off to be able to be here with the children that are away from school right now.
That's fantastic.
Very, very fortunate in that regard.
Well, that's great. I'm very happy for you, and it's got to be a good feeling with everything else being so uncertain. That's the thing with this thing is that it's uprooting us every which way. I mean, if it's not affecting our jobs, it's affecting our relationships. If it's not affecting our relationships, it's affecting the way we go shopping. If it's not affecting that, it's affecting our entertainment.
Yes.
I had to pull over last night. I just started crying, James, in my car because I just had to let it out. I mean, I wasn't moping about it, and I didn't sit there for an hour crying, but I just felt this huge release by crying because I just thought, God darn it, everything's just crazy right now. I mean, everything we take for granted. I want to go to a Barnes and Noble and just sit down and have a cappuccino and read a book. I can't do that.
Yeah, I'm almost 40 myself, and I've never seen anything like this before.
It's unprecedented.
I'm not, but it's definitely wild.
It's crazy to think that the whole world, this is the solace I find in this, James. Maybe you do too. There's some great comfort in knowing that this isn't like when I went through my divorce, none of my friends were getting divorced. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was all alone and they couldn't relate to me. This is not one of those things. This isn't a midlife crisis. This isn't somebody losing their hair. It's not somebody having an affair. It's not some weird thing that you're isolated in doing maybe at the same time. The whole world is experiencing this, and there's some great comfort I can't describe in that. Do you sense that same level of comfort to know that all your fellow human beings on Earth have these same types of feelings and insecurities?
I do, but it's kind of a foreign comfort also, since we're not used to this kind of thing.
Oh, it definitely is. It feels like it's from outer space, doesn't it?
Odd, yeah, definitely. I mean, not just our own individual cities, shutting down, but countries, and continents themselves, not allowing flights in and so forth. And it's just so many unprecedented things. It's hard to digest, really.
Yeah, they say Antarctica is the only continent that doesn't have this. And, that's not a big shock there. There's like 2 people there at any given time, I think. And they're probably staying way the hell away from each other at this point. But but I was reading that Antarctica is the only place that does not have coronavirus anywhere on, in the habitable parts of Earth anywhere where there are humans. Antarctica is free of that. But what is your sense of how long this will last?
Man, I really don't know. I guess I don't have one. That's kind of the scary part also.
Yeah, I think it's going to be shorter than longer, in my opinion. But I've always been an optimistic person, but I don't see this like a year from now, you and I still talking about this saying, God, I wonder when I'm going to get back to work. It's been a year. I don't see that. I think it might be a month, 3 weeks, a month, a couple months, but I don't see this going through the summer and through the end of the year. I think something's going to happen. I mean, and we're not taking into account either, James, all the hundreds of doctors all over the world who are working around the clock on this thing, vaccination trials and things like that.
Well, the fact that they're going to be not only just wore out from helping so many people, there's a certain number of them that are going to be taken out by this virus also. And the fact that our infrastructure in itself isn't prepared and ready for this, that's scary in itself also.
Yeah, it's true, especially in New York City is just getting pummeled by this thing, and a lot of doctors and nurses are getting this as well. You're right, not just there, but obviously in Italy was a prime case where many doctors have succumbed to this and nurses as well. It's very scary in that regard.
Yeah, I had a scare earlier this week where I really started feeling ill on Monday. Started with a swollen lymph node in my neck, and it just deteriorated from there. I ended up calling my doctor on Tuesday, and they heard the symptoms. I ended up going in, and it ended up being strep throat. But a lot of those symptoms are similar to what's going on with this virus, and that was a definite scare there for a day or two.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't, my friend. I'm sure you are too, and that's scary. I bet you were never that happy in your life to have strep throat, though.
Definitely.
So how's your family doing with all this, and how is family life and how is your personal life being affected by this, if you want to answer?
Not too bad. A little stir crazy, going on a lot of walks, that kind of thing. Just trying to keep the girls entertained. Trying to keep them busy with routines, certain times of days, doing certain things.
Yeah. I'm noticing, like, if I were a kid, I'd be a little scared. But, my wife and I are level-headed, and we're not instilling fear because I don't think there's a reason to. But I think kids overall, which is a good thing, they're not frightened. I know I would have been scared out of my mind probably in the 1970s because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all this stuff, to maybe research and say, okay, this is going to be okay. But I think a lot of kids, they think it's like perpetual summer vacation. I know my kids are playing a lot of Animal Crossing, and they're also helping around the house. They've been very, very helpful around the house getting stuff done. And it's nice having them here, to be honest with you. And I'm looking forward. If it's only going to be 2 weeks, I'm very looking forward to getting stuff done too. But it's good that kids don't seem to be, the kids I'm reading about and talking about and anecdotally hearing about, they're not at wit's end. They're not falling apart at the seams. Luckily, they're taking this in stride, it seems.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing for the most part as well.
Well, James, I really appreciate you. I thank you for being one of the first ones doing this with me. I know it's kind of a tough thing. You sounded fantastic, like you've been doing this for years. So thank you very much for doing it with me.
You're very welcome.
You take care, James. Thanks for being a part of Hughes From The Heart.